YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. We are starting this off with Tearlament versus Dragon Link branded Dragon Maid. Ain't no way. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos, even if you have us on in the background. Thank you very much. And with that said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Tearlament, Dragon Link branded. Begin. 49 to 55 cards. We have grass. Our deck's smaller than their deck, so we can't use grass. We have no play here. Havnis is not a play. Fairytale Snow is not a play. We need the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation in the graveyard, so we literally just end our turn, now hoping for the opponent to activate a monster effect on the field, which could be chain link blocked. The Havnis has to be the direct chain link to a monster effect on the field. So let's go. So for example, the Black Metal Dragon will chain link block the Havnis. By summoning Striker Dragon, you put Striker Dragon on Chainlink 1, which we did not do. So if you switch these Chainlink orders up, the Havnis would not be activatable. And you also want to Chainlink block your monster on the field to play around another deck, Rescue Ace. So Rescue Ace Tearlament on an open field is how you want to be Chainlink blocking your on-field monsters. But we still did not chain Havnis. Interesting. We're waiting with the Havnis. We wait. What are we waiting for? Banishing for a Red Eyes Darkness Metal, triggering the Noctavision to summon itself on. I don't think it triggers, it just summons onto the field, right? Oh, it does trigger. It summons itself onto the field, and when sent to the grave, it will active. There's a strategy where you don't want your opponent to know what you're playing. And maybe that's the strategy we chose to do. Instead of chaining Havnis for a minuscule play that likely would not have ended up into anything meaningful, the opponent did have a call by the grave. We could go into game 2, and they're still not going to know what we're playing. Now, Magic the Gathering, and I think in Hearthstone also, not only does your opponent know what your deck's playing, they also have access to your deck list. And that's a way to reduce people scouting or feature matches or unveiling decks. Is that something that Yu-Gi-Oh! Should be implementing? Would it make Yu-Gi-Oh! More competitive? Or would it be taking away surprise factor cards? Like maybe someone wants to play a Drowning Mirror Force in their deck, and now that you know that they're playing it, then they wouldn't even be playing it to begin with, right? Let's hop into game number 2. Reinhardt, we're not going to imperm that. Waiting with the imperm onto a Kit Cal, I do believe is better. We chain a Maxi to that Sharon, which is not a big deal if it weren't for the imperm. Because what we'll simply do is make a Kit Cal, search for a Sulik, then end our turn. It's pretty damn good. It's why the deck was so good against Maxi back in the day when it was tier 0. Here is the search, here is the imperm. I don't think so. Imperm is so good because it negates multiple effects. The Kit Cal is not going to be able to get herself into the graveyard in mill 5. Not that we would do that under Maxi anyway. We still have a Crime. Crime is going to be able to negate anything. And on top of a Maxi, let's freaking go. Maxi, if you tried to stop the Maxi, we would have negated it, completely ending their turn. Set, Droplet, pass. Now Kit Cal can send herself to the graveyard, reborn the Rhino Heart. Oh, we had one in the graveyard? No, we returned it back in the deck to summon the Kit Cal. We have the one from the hand. So Rhino Heart's going to send from the deck as the Kit Cal now mills 5. Mill 5, we have a Kaleido in the graveyard for shuffling. Sharon triggering to come forth and Shokan into Rukalos. Rukalos will be able to negate a Nibiru, not that we're even summoning 5 times to begin with, as we simply poke for 4,500 damage. We also have Crime to negate anything. We are not King Sarcophagusing. We are going to make a Recharger into a Striker Dragon on summon, search our deck. Now the Crime will also be able to spin the card back in the deck. We're going to Rukalos negate the Noctavision, Droplet negate Rukalos. Now in the TCG, this is a Chainlink block. In Master Duel, this is not a Chainlink block. The Rukalos, or I should say Crime, could have negated the Striker Dragon before the Noctavision triggers. And we're going to use Crime onto the Droplet. You are not going to negate. Negate. The negate, return it back into the deck, mate. As Rukalos negates and destroys the Noctavision, sending herself to the graveyard, triggering Rukalos to reborn herself back from the graveyard. We also have the Havnis being sent to the grave through the effect of the Crime, which is, I believe, how it got to the grave. Yes, that's exactly how it was sent there. We're going to chain Maxi. As we now fuse this up into, what are we fusing into? Rukalos is back on the field. As we fuse the Rukal and Rhino into a Kaleido. Havnis, Rukal, and Rhino into Kaleido on summon, spinning the Shrieker Dragon on the field back into the extra deck. Big enough to suicide into the Kaleido Heart. It's a very good play because the Kaleido Heart being sent to the grave by card effect is a big deal. It will trigger a fusion, it will spin a card in the field back on the deck. So if you could quickly get the Kaleido into the graveyard through battle, you do it. We have King Sarcophagus, discarding Tearlament Grief, sending the horse to the graveyard to reborn the horse onto the field. Not an I'm Seti, which is quite interesting. The Happy states that if a card leaves the field through card effect, we're going to return up to 2 cards from either player's graveyard or banishment and put them back to the hand. We're going to be returning the field spell back into the deck. We activated our Kaleido to spin back the Leveneer back into the deck. Okay, sure. Also recycling our Kaleido. Now, Hell Shadow Hollow. We're just going to discard that card, not by card effect, so it's not going to trigger. Reborning a Dumatef, as we then make a Zombie Vampire to mill 4 cards off of both players' decks, which we did not use Impermanence on, to steal the Magna Hut to search for a dragon during the end phase, which we're now imperming the Magna Hut from searching for a Bystial of our own during the end phase. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Sure. Not imperming a Zombie Vampire, I think, is quite sus, yes? We have Happy reborning from the graveyard, and we are scooping this up. Something just happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know. What the heck? We did not think that the Zombie Vampire was a big deal. It's a huge deal. It could mill Tearlament, trigger fusion summoning. It milled an additional Horus to reborn from the grave. Oh my gosh, you have to stop that Zombie Vampire. Let's go to game 3. Grass looking green, which we do have a 5-card mill at the moment. Not so good. As we further Shokan this up into a Borreload Savage Dragon Omni Negate. You have Dispater, which will destroy a monster in response to it activating. Borreload, which will negate anything. Borland, which will negate a monster. The Finger, which will be fingering a Tearlament. The Bystial, which will be Bystialing a Tearlament. We have Ogre, which will be popping a monster. And we have the Dragon Maid Tiding to return a card back to the hand. Let's go. 7 cards. Begin. Card destruction. That's going to be interesting. Sharon discarding the Keldo, as the Scream is going to be triggering to search our deck for a trap. The Hell Shadow Hollow is going to mill one. Wow, only 1, because it's every different attribute on the field. That's how many cards you mill. Keldo. We're going to Dispater, negate the Keldo from returning the Rockets back in the deck, which turns off the use of Borland. Borland could only negate if we have a Rocket in the graveyard to reborn. So we do have to negate that. Smartly done. Hollow Mill, just a single Havnis. Who's Gorilla Guy? Get this guy out of here. Okay, there we go. We have Druid Swarm, Chain banishing the Havnis. As we said, we only have Sharon left, which the Finger's waiting. Regain to return back that Havnis back into the deck to draw 1. We have the Tearlament Field spell coming to us as we card destruction our entire hand to draw 4 new cards. Triggering Rhino, triggering the Meta Noise. Meta Noise is going to grab a different Rhino. Did we target the same Rhino to return back to the hand? What? We activated Rhino to summon, but then we activated a card to return that Rhino that wants to summon back to the hand. Thus, it resolves that effect because it's now back in the hand. Okay, we normal summon it instead. Regain, trigger, reborn a Magna Hut from our graveyard. And again, we have that Finger. Send for the deck Sharon. As I said, only 2 fusion summons and 2 ways to stop those fusion summons through the Call by the Grave and our Bystial. Goodbye to Sharon. She is banished. It's better if we have a Havnis banished because she is limited to 1. Sharon being semi-limited. Let's see what else we could do here. Oldish Burial, send from the deck a Fairy Tale Snow. Fairy Tale Snow, banish 7 cards from the graveyard, hand, or field. Banishing everything from the grave except the Hell Shadow Hollow. We're going to use the Fairy Tale Snow to attempt to flip the Borreload face down, which still has that negate ready. As we then negate the Fairy Tale Snow with the Borland, reborn the Rocket Recharger, follow up with a Heartbeat to spin back the Tiding back into the deck. We have the Bystial Magna Hut. which will be returned back to the hand alongside the Fairytale Snow. Horus I'm Seti is going to be negated by the Borload from searching for a King Sark, which will then be able to send another horse in the deck to the grave, which stopped a rank 8 Xyz. So instead, we're now making Dugaris. Dugaris could draw 2 or Reborn from the grave. What are we going to do? We're drawing 2. Draw 2, then discard. There's nothing good to discard. That's a good way to draw into, or if you already have a Havnis or a Sharon in the hand, you draw 2, discard that card, and then trigger the fusion, which just like that, maybe it's Destiny with Dragon Link, Dragon Maid. We also saw some branded in the deck defeating Tearlament. Pot of P. We are digging 6 cards deep, getting rid of that Typhon. As you know, if you go first, Typhon's not as good, so it's good to be banishing from the extra deck here. Grabbing our Called by the Grave. So a lot of people, and maybe some people, are thinking, why do you chain Max C to someone activating a card effect to draw or search the deck like Pot of P? Well, this is why. They could add an Ash Blossom or a Called by the Grave off the top of the deck to their hand, and now your Max C is no good. We're going to be activating the Poplar after adding it with the Bonfire. Imperm onto the Poplar. We're going to chain Wanted Seeker, grabbing a Diablo Star. Sure. Further link this up into our Link Kuribo, triggering the Poplar, equip into the back row to send to the grave to the Diablo Star to activate and set up an Original Sinful into our back row. Send a Link Kuribo to summon for the deck, our Hydrant. Hydrant, come to us, Airlifter. Airlift off into grabbing an Alert. Alert from the deck to our hand, a Turbulence because we control a Hydrant, making the SP Little Knight. We're now going to activate Max C. We're going to chain Call by the Grave onto that Max C, Banish. We're now going to Turbulence, banish from the graveyard to come forth and summon. As we then Nibiru. Now, Ogre counters Little Knight. That's it. You would think Little Knight will change to Nibiru to protect the Turbulence to come back in the end phase. Not going to happen. If Ogre destroys the Little Knight on the higher chain link, no banish. A very good counter. So if you're hating Little Knight, then Ogre's the card to be playing. Get poppin'. Pop Little Knight, tribute the fields. Nibiru has successfully stopped Turbulence. Damn, and we have nothing in our hand besides a Subversion. We had all hand traps, unfreaking believable. IP Masquerina is here, triggering Preventer to return the banished Turbulence, so I take that back. Nibiru did not stop Turbulence. Turbulence still got its way back onto the field somehow, as it's now setting up 4 back row cards, which results into 3 disruptions. Negate, Pop, and Preventer flip face down. We also have Masquerina for another form of disruption, so we have about 4 things that will result in disrupting the opponent. To battle phase we go with that Nibiru. We want to take out the Masquerina. We're going to Reborn Preventer. Preventer flip down Nibiru within the battle phase, protecting our Masquerina. As we just end our turn. It wasn't to bait out anything. It was literally our only play to go into battle phase with Nibiru. Let's speed this up because I think we know where this is going. We're going to be getting the Hydrant back onto the field through the effect of the Preventer as the Airlifter searches our deck for the emergency. If not, we would grab the field spell, Hydrant search in the deck. We're going to chain the Max C. We don't care as we link this up into an Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker plus Turbulence, just that alone is enough for lethal damage. We're going to be banishing the graveyard, wiping out Nibiru. To battle we go. And just like that, well, the Access Code Talker actually was not 5,300, so we did need the extra summon of the Preventer to make it lethal damage, thus taking this into Game 2. Send Subversion and come forth and summon Diablo Star. Diablo Star is going to get impermed, not Gamma. We're holding on to the Gamma. And now we didn't play into a triple tactics talent. Ash could also negate Gamma temporarily. Double Gamma in the hand. Ain't no freaking way. As we have our own Diablo Star, discard Gamma to activate a setup into our back row a Wanted Seeker, since we already have the Original Sinful in our hand. Original Sinful, what does it do? It opens up our field to make use of the Gamma to negate the Ash Blossom. Let's freaking go. Oh my gosh, we just got blown out by the Gamma. He discarded Gamma, and he still had a Gamma. Damn. Come forth. Now, what could we turn this Gamma into? We could maybe turn it into a Baron de Flor if we have enough room in our extra deck. Probably not. The Stardust Excel Synchro into... No, we have no Synchros whatsoever. We're just going to Link Climb with it. Hydrant is going to be negated by the effect Veiler, as we now are going to be able to whip out that Turbulence. We need another Rescue Ace card in the graveyard to summon the Turbulence, or tribute summon. Normal tribute summon over the Gamma, setting up the Contain, the Extinguish, and 2 other cards from our deck into the back row, just like that. Now, none of them are activatable to turn their set unless we have a Hydrant on the field. We're going to maybe reborn the Hydrant to then make one of them activatable by reborning the opponent's Ash Blossom to make a Promethean Princess. Promethean, reborn the Hydrant. Now, what do we want to activate? We can activate the Rescue. We could activate the Emergency. Only one of them are activatable. Reborning our Turbulence, further Shokaning into a Raging Phoenix. Raging Phoenix into a Zealantis. Into, this is lethal damage. So all that back row setup for the next turn, there is no next turn. Come forth and reborn the Zealantis, reborn Turbulence, trigger Promethean, pop the face down, reborn. Now, this is not enough for a lethal, right? 5,200, but we just triggered our Raging Phoenix. Raging Phoenix will be the remaining 2,800 damage we need. It is exactly 28, but it's going to be even bigger than 28. It's going to be 58. Whoa, there's now a Diablo Star in the field, but we can still pop it within the battle phase. So this is nothing. Battle phase, non-target, pop 1, pop 2, 2 pop. Wipe the entire field, 11,000 damage. Let's go. Was Raging Phoenix a mistake? What could they have done to have Raging Phoenix only be used in Salamangreat and not in other freaking decks for this lethal? Let's go. Fire King Snake Eye versus Fire King. No, we have Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Now, what do we have here? We got some plays here. Baron to floor, negate. Herald of Arclight, negate. If the battle position is changed, we could pop a card in the field, which we could do so through this card in the graveyard. You could banish this card from the graveyard, target a card, curry you control, changes battle position to then pop a card in the field. And by popping it, we're going to banish it. Target a card your opponent controls, banish. So banish, negate, 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 pop a card, and we can flip a card face down if we have a Preventer. Do we have a Promethean in the graveyard also? I don't think so. Let's go. About 5 to 6 disruption. Gold Pride was another TCG exclusive. The TCG exclusive just keep on missing. Yeah? Maybe Gold cleared Snake Eye board. Well, we'll be reacting to that, and maybe my opinion will change on TCG exclusives, yeah? Baron to floor within the standby phase, returning itself back in the extra after it had already used up its effect, right? But did it? Yes, it did. It negated the Call by the Grave. We're going to use Contain to contain the Snake Eye Ash, stopping it from being able to search, and also it's negated. So even if it sends itself to the graveyard with another card, it's still negated. Nicely done. Aurora Dawn. Aurora freaking Dawn with negate, negate, and banish a card mates on top of our 4 back row disruption. Bonfire, searching for our Ash. We're not going to Ash negate. Now in the TCG, they're saying to Ash Bonfire because they wouldn't open up with Bonfire, which would be playing into a Droll and Lockbird, which is more popular in the TCG than in Master Duel. But still, Droll was up to, I think, a 70% usage rate. Am I remembering this correctly? When Super Heavy Samurai came out, and then we released the official in-game usage, Droll was at 70% usage because of Super Heavy Samurai, which then dramatically dropped off afterward after Super Heavy got banned and restricted. We had the Fire King Island, popping the Ponix, grabbing the Garunix, trigger Garunix to summon itself onto the field, pop a card from the deck, pop in the Kieran, Kieran reborn from the grave, pop a card in the field, there's no card to pop. We now have the Hida. Hida loves stealing the opponent's Ash, come to me, as you then further link this up into Promethean Princess. Promethean, reborn a fire from the grave, which will be our Ash Blossom to send the Sanctuary in itself to summon from the hand or deck of the Oak. Oak, reborn the Ponix, send itself plus the Ponix to summon from the hand or deck the Flameburge. We had to summon Oak and Flameburge from the freaking hand. Oh my gosh. We're gonna further Shokan this up into Masquerena. And let's freaking go. We have Masquerena, link off into a Little Knight, into another Banish. We have the ability to pop a card in the field with the Garunix, pop an Akirin. We have Promethean Princess, pop a card, and then the Amble Whale's gonna be able to pop another card. So you have about 5 disruptions through this field. What do? Bonfiring a Poplar into our hand to start making some plays without committing to our normal summon. Poplar triggering to grab the original Sinful. We're going to further link this up into a Linkuriboh. Sure. Poplar trigger, equip itself in the back row. Original Sinful, send Poplar to summon from the deck and Ash. Ash on summon, activate, grabbing the Kurikara Divine Incarnate to tribute any monster in the field that activated their effect this turn. Making a Little Knight. Little Knight is going to be banishing the Fire King Island, which, when banished, will activate to destroy the entire field of monsters you control. Destroy everything. Now, Masquerena protects you from only your opponent destroying your monster. So, not being protected from your own cards, your own Fire King Island is going to wipe you out. Promethean Princess is going to be in response, be come forth and poppin'. Pop, then Reborn. As the Little Knight successfully takes out the Fire King Island, triggering Fire King Island to wipe out the field on the lower chain link as the Hida first gets summoned through the Amble Whale. Summon, then wipe it. Masquerena didn't even bother activating. Runick is triggering to summon itself onto the field to then pop from the deck and Arvata. Arvata triggered to Reborn from the grave. Ponix. Ponix would activate on summon to search, but it's negated by the Arvata. Now, we have nothing left. There's nothing. There's no more disruption. That's it. There kind of is. There's a secret disruption through the Amble Whale. If a Link 3 or lower on the field on either side of the field is destroyed while this is in the graveyard, you can destroy a card in the field. So what's a good way to do that? Linkuriboh. If you could Reborn Linkuriboh and then let it die when they attack it, thinking you're going to activate the effect, but you don't activate the effect, you let it be destroyed by battle, that's a damage step, pop a card in the field through the Amble Whale. Are we going to fall for that? Probably not. Hida, steal the Oak. Oak, Reborn, a banished or engraved monster. Oak sent itself plus the Jet Synchron is summoned from the deck, our Flameburge. Flameburge is going to get push and push the Runick into the back row, further linking this up into a blocker. Blocker could discard a card if we want to. We're going to be Reborn the Jet Synchron to now make the Auroradon. Oh my gosh. Auroradon is going to lock us out of Link summoning for the rest of the turn, tributing itself plus a token to summon from the deck. A Olion making the Excel Synchron and the turn. That's it. What the? And the Excel Synchron does have the effect during the opponent's turn to Synchro Summon, right? Immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro Summon into a Borreload Savage Dragon. Yes, Borreload. Ponix in the standby phase come to us. So we get to make the first play within the main phase. Now, the Runick's being pushed into the back row turns off our impermanence. So it's something you want to think about, turning off the imperm or an evenly match. If Ash Blossom negating the original Sinful, attempting to search the deck for a card that would be making a play, what would that card be that we want to make a play with? It couldn't be an Ash if the Ash is already in the graveyard. We have Ponix searching for a Skyburn. Subversion. Why? During your opponent's main phase, Synchro Summon? No? We didn't want to do it? Okay. We are going... a Trushilla play is what we also could have done. Trushilla would miss the timing if we chain Trushilla. So you Subversion Synchron, you chain Synchron, Trushilla, no good. Skyburn. Skyburn with the Ponix is going to get popped, taking out the Ash. Linkuriboh is going to dodge the Skyburn pop. No Synchros, probably. We don't play Borreload? Wait, where's Borreload? Dude doesn't play Borreload. We play a 9 and a 10. We could have made the Baribu. Yeah. No, we could not even make Baribu. All of the non-tuners have to be machine. We just couldn't make anything. We had an 8, we had a 9, we couldn't make the 9, we couldn't make the 8, we just had nothing. Okay, that's kind of weird. Making a Dark. Dark is here. Reborn a Dark monster from the opponent's graveyard. Come to me, your Masquerena. With your Masquerena, I'm making an indestructible Promethean Princess. Reborn from the grave, our Flameburge. Push your Promethean into the back row. 6,600 damage on the field. We're going to keep on going. Grab a Poplar, trigger Poplar, summon itself onto the field. 7,800 damage. Almost there. But boost up the field. It just like that with over 11,000 damage. Abin with the 2-0 victory. Lethal damage. Let's go. Let's go. Begin. Huh? What? Keeper of Dragon Magic, discarding an Albaz, grabbing our Branded Fusion. Our limited one Branded Fusion is here. We're gonna chain our Branded Opening, discard a card from the hand to summon a monster from the deck, which will be our Quem. Sending from the deck to the grave, our Lubellion and Albaz as we make our Albion Branded Dragon. Albion as we chainlink higher the Quem, send from the deck to the grave, come forth in sending from the deck to the grave a Mercurier. We're going to be banishing the Mercurier and the Albaz to fuse into Lubellion Searing Dragon, triggering the Mercurier and the Lubellion to make a Mirror Jade, discarding the Branded Banishment from our hand, keeping that triple tactics thrust. We're ready to get thrusting. Grabbing a Cartesia from the deck through the Mercurier being banished, as we then make Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade with a non-target monster banish is here. We're going to send the Albion to the grave to summon our Lubellion to set up into our back row. Nothing as the Daruma Cannon flips the whole field face down. So the Mirror Jade's going to chain banish one of our own cards just to get the Titanclad in the graveyard to trigger to summon a monster during the end phase. Get flipping, goodbye to our other monster on the field. Special summon Cartesia, which will be able to fuse with a monster that's face down or in the hand, as we then make our Gangrel. Gangrel is triggering to send from the deck an Albion Shrouded Dragon, which will send a Retribution from the deck to the grave to use its effect to add back the discarded Branded Banishment back to our hand. Then we set it and end our turn. Titanclad, adding an Albaz from the deck to our hand. Big Welcome Labyrinth, activating to summon a lady to then return it back to the hand to then summon it back onto the field, which will be chaining to our Trap Trick as we get chain link blocked by the Branded Sword, adding the Mercurier back to the hand, which will be a monster negate only if we have an Albaz Fusion on the field, which we don't. So that's not an active negate yet. We're banishing a Daruma to set a Daruma. We have Albion, Branded Dragon, triggering to set a Retribution, which will be able to negate an effect to special summon. We really want the lady to set a trap. So we're going to activate that Daruma just to flip down our own lady to set up a Welcome Labyrinth. Let's go. Cartesia adding back to the hand because it was the turn a fusion monster was sent to the grave. We have double evenly, but we can't use it. To battle we go with the untargetable lady, wiping out the on-field Quem. We're going to follow up within the battle phase Welcome Labyrinth. We're going to chain link block the Lady Labyrinth with a counter trap, which we can't chain to. Returning the in-grave Albion and Titanclad back in the extra deck to negate and destroy. We're now going to use Big Welcome within the battle phase, returning the lady back to the hand to use an evenly match within the end of the battle phase. As we then special summon her back on the field, we're going to chain Branded Banishment before the lady hits the field, so we cannot chain to the Branded Banishment to set a trap from the deck. Reborning our Mirror Jade to non-target monster banish the lady off the field. Damn. We were able to set up the Welcome Labyrinth, which got negated by Retribution. Retribution rarely is ever freaking used. And we had the Mercurier now activatable. We had the non-target monster banish activatable. Let's hop into game number 2. Arius is going to discard herself to set a trap from the hand to make it activatable. The turn it is set, we're going to Big Welcome Labyrinth. Abelmod is playing a 60-card deck, reducing the likeliness of having an Ash Blossom to negate. Setting up with the Ariana, we have Daruma flip the field face down. We have Rivalry of the Warlords, locking each player into a single monster type. So we got Spellcaster in the hand, a Dragon Albion. Mirror Jade is a worm. This is not going to be good for Branded. They have all these different monster types. Setting up with the Branded Lost. Activate Fusion Deployment. Reveal the Mirror Jade summoned from the deck Albaz. Discard to flip up the Rivalry of Warlords. So we have to summon a dragon monster off of this, which we can. We could go right into Lubellion. But then Lubellion can't go into Mirror Jade, because Mirror Jade, the dragon, is not a dragon, even though it's a dragon in the name. Albaz has nothing to fuse with. 1800 to the face. Setting our Spellcaster as we cannot summon her. We're going to chain Welcome Labyrinth to the Albion, summoning from the deck. Come forth, Lady or Lovely. We have Lovely Labyrinth waiting for a monster to leave the field through a trap effect. Branded in red is waiting to, what we're going to even be able to do. We can target a Despia or Fallen Albaz in the graveyard, which we can target the Albion in the graveyard. Okay, we're going to fuse into a Lubellion, right? We could go into the dragon that pops cards on the field, yes? Lubellion into this one. Borlord Furious. That's going to be the play. Borlord Furious is the way. Branded Lost, triggering a grab and Mercourier. Lubellion get Fusion to come forth and summon into our Borlord Furious, as we said. It's all legal within Dragon. We're not taking out the rivalry. Very interesting. And we made sure to use the Borlord Furious within the window of the opponent not being able to respond to us through the effect of Branded Lost. If Ariana searching for an Arius, Arius is going to discard herself to set up a big welcome as the Mercourier negates. I don't think so, mate. Sure. Let's see what else we can do here. Lovely is going to set up Daruma from the graveyard as we then overlay her into a Typhon. Typhon's going to spin a monster on the field back. Now, how does this make sense? Rivalry, Fiend, Machine. It's not a freaking machine. This is a Fiend. How is this a Fiend? Under Rivalry of freaking Warlords. 3,000 or higher cannot activate no matter where they are. We have Retribution, going to recycle the Brandon High Spirits in the graveyard back to our hand. Activate Brandon High Spirits to reveal the Quem as we send the Gangrenal to the graveyard, plus the Quem to search our deck for the Albion to draw a card by sending an Albaz spell or trap from the deck to the grave, which will be our branded opening and protect us from destruction effects. We have Cartesia triggering to return ourselves from the graveyard back to the hand. As the big welcome within the end phase, Reborn's the Lovely. We're gonna recycle Typhon over and over. That's wild. Summon it over Lovely. Lovely is going to be continually setting up the big welcome. That's pretty cool. Welcome Labyrinth, resetting itself back in the field. Ariana triggering to draw a card here. Could also set the newly drawn card. We're not going to set the Maxi. Pop in the back row Fusion Duplication. Now let's see what we can do. If the opponent did not summon 2 extra deck monsters within their last turn, we cannot summon the Typhon again. We're going to, with the Welcome Labyrinth plus the Labyrinth field spell, pop a card in the field non-targeting. Goodbye to the Branded Lost. We're going to banish the big welcome, spin a card on the field back to the hand because it was a monster. The Lovely will trigger to pop a card in the field or in the hand. Ariana's going to trigger to draw a card here. Goodbye to the Cartesia, which we know is in that hand. Lovely is going to be adding back the Welcome Labyrinth. And just like that, I think we all know where this is heading to. Daruma, Chain Lady set up in Ice Dragon Prison into our back row. Triggering the Lovely, I should say the Labyrinth to summon a Fiend monster from the hand or graveyard to come forth and attack for game. So all we had to do is activate a non-Labyrinth trap to trigger the field spell to reborn a Fiend. 1 and 1. Let's go. Let's go. What is this? Floodgate plus Evenly plus Max C. This is exactly what we want to be seeing, but we don't have any relevant Labyrinth cards to make plays with. So let's speed this up. Let's see what we end up on doing. And we did do a fat grass looking green. What did we mill off of that? What the heck? Chaos Nephthys, which will be activatable from the graveyard. If a card on the field is destroyed by card effect, which Labyrinth love to do, banish a light and dark to special summon this card from the graveyard. And then if this card is special summoned, target 1 card your opponent controls or 2 cards in their graveyard, banish them. This will be summoned within this duel. I hope so. And let's go. We have the Branded Fusion being added back to the hand from the graveyard through the effect of the Branded Retribution. Albion Sanctifier is what you want to summon under a Max C. We got Pot of E to likely draw into our Labyrinth plays. Evenly Matched is going to be a big one. Branded has no way to stop an Evenly Match. They don't set up a negate for it. There's nothing in the action deck, nothing in the main deck could stop an Evenly. So is it going to be good enough to stop them? Let's see. We're not going to the battle phase yet. At the start of the main phase, we have to activate that Pot of E, otherwise it's not activatable. Start of the battle phase, and while we have no way to negate the Evenly, we have a way to stop it from being activated through the Albion. So within the battle phase, come forth and summon a body onto their field. Now you can't Evenly. So no negate, but that don't matter, mate, because you can't even activate it. Set 5 back row with the Labyrinth. What is this nonsense? We're going to be Branded Banishmenting within the main phase, that is, to then discard, also triggering the Alubur on summon, also triggering the Branded Lost to search our deck for an Albaz monster, also triggering the Quem to reborn the From Grave Cartesia, all within the main phase, so we could use the effect of the Cartesia. All these newly set cards are obviously not activatable here. Branded Opening, come to me through the Alibur, return back in the deck to make a Borlord Furious. With Borlord Furious, we could pop one of these random back row cards, taking out the Daruma Cannon. There's still the Floodgate, Rivalry, Ice Dragon can banish a card in the field. And what were we saying? We triggered it with our own Borlord Furious. Borlord Furious, pop a card in the field, triggering the Nephthys to come forth and summon onto the field, banishing another card on the field. Cartesia is also going to activate the Fusion Summon. And we are targeting the Rivalry. We're going to fuse with the Nephthys into a Gangrenol. Sure. So goodbye to 2 back row at least. Oh my gosh. It's field and graveyard banishing. Grabbing a Branded in High Spirits. 3 back row are left up. Branded in red, adding in Albaz. Now, what you have to know, within the summon window of the Branded red, you now can activate Borlord Furious to pop a back row, and they can't chain to it because you're responding to your own fusion summon, which the Branded loss is protecting you from your opponent being able to respond to your summon. So just like that, was Borlord Furious also going to trigger the Nephthys again? So did Nephthys get banished after leaving the field? No. So Borlord Furious and Nephthys every single turn is pop a card and banish, pop a card and banish, and through the protection of the Branded loss, making so your opponent cannot respond to those plays. That is insane. What the? The Nephthys was in grave, right? Yeah, it was sent to the grave with Cartesia. Wow. Chaos Nephthys and Borlord Furious to banish and pop every turn. I'm now considering it. I gotta try it. Now, for the first time in Meta Weekly history, we had an entire tournament last week where we could not get a single Yubel versus Yubel matchup. Now, we all know within Yu-Gi-Oh!, the mirror match, crazy things tend to happen. So what is going to be crazy within the Yubel mirror match? Let's focus on that. Hajime. Yubel, starting off with the Throne. We just have Imperm, so we're going to wait for the Imperm play. Dark Beckoning, searching for the opening of the Spirit Gates. Spirit Gates, search our deck for another Dark Beckoning. When do we whip out that Imperm? 1-for-1, summon from the deck the D-Lotus. We're going to let the D-Lotus activate to summon from the deck our Spirit of Yubel. Are we Imperming the Spirit of Yubel? Yes, we are. We don't have a Shavara, but we do have a Crossout Designate to negate the Impermanence. A good amount of disruption. Negate, 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 negate. 4 monster negates. We could link off of the monster. We could banish with the SP Little Knight. We could then banish again. We could pop with the escape. We have about 8 disruptions. 5-card hand. And we just drew Max C. What? Dark Beckoning. And we're going to use one of our 8. You could just close your eyes and just spam the yes area of the screen. Just yes, 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 yes. Activate, or the trigger effect areas here. So just yes to everything, no matter what, and you'd win. Good job, Yubel. If you're a new or returning player, Yubel's the deck you want to play right now. I think so. Build it, play it, learn it, and you'll have a good time. And it should only be getting better with Fiendsmith. I do think Yubel's going to get hit by a ban list, but not until 3 or 4 months from now. 3 or 4 months, it's gonna be safe for at least the next 2 months. But I do think it will still probably be a top tier deck, even after getting hit by a ban list. Imperman the D-Lotus. Now, even without the Crossout Designate with the Nightmare Throne, we can get another body onto the field. We could then link it off with the Muckraker. We could then discard to then reborn the D-Lotus. We would have been fine. We could have still used D-Lotus without Crossout Designate. And this is why a lot of people are choosing to not use Imperm onto a D-Lotus, because they're likely going to have a way to reborn it. Negate. But Muckraker locks us in a Fiend only. We can't make Apollo USA. So let's just negate it and get that out of the way so we can still make Apollo. We're going to make a 3 negate Apollo USA. 4 materials, 4 counters. Okay, we're gonna add back Squirmer, so we're not even ending on a Phantom of Yubel. See how awkward it was with the Shavara locking us into Fiend-type monsters only to the point where we had to use it with the Phantom of Yubel to link it off? Now, what do we have in the graveyard here? We could have still ended on a Phantom of Yubel. We add back the Squirmer, we return Squirmer and the Spirit of Yubel to summon our 3rd copy of Phantom of Yubel, but some people are only playing 2. Stardust, you're only playing 2? No, we're playing a 3rd one, which we could have summoned. We chose to just not do so. So we have Negate, Negate, Negate. We have Pop with Escape, Link off of the monster. We have Ash Blossom, we have Little Knight, Little Knight. We still have about 8 disruptions. Starting off with the Phantom of Yubel to negate something like your Apollo USA, we're going to use the Escape of the Unchained on the activation of the Spirit Gates, which only 1 are activatable in a turn. Pop in the Soul of Rage. We're going to trigger the Yama. Are we negating? Well, if we negate, we get negated by the Apollo, so we probably want to save the Phantom of Yubel for Apollo and not anything else. Soul of Rage also chain link blocking the Yama from even being negated, so that's a good way to chain link block or negate from even something like a Ghost Spell, which could stop the Yama from reborning. Not that anyone's really playing a Ghost Spell, is too much. So we are seeing to win the Yubel mirror match, you just go first and you win. That's it. All right, let's go. And if you don't go first, you need Super Poly. I think so. If you don't go first and you don't have Super Poly, you're not going to win. That's what I'm calling. Unless we disrupt their turn 1 through a Max C and some other plays. We're going to Max C within the standby phase. We have double Imperm. Negate this, we would have been able to make with the Spirit Gates, the other one we still had in the hand, but then the additional summon effect's gone, but you could link it off with Almirage, then discard a card, reborn it, then the double summon effect is back inactive. Spirit Gates come to us, another Dark Beckoning. We're going to set up with the Nightmare Throne into a Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel being returned back on the deck for a Phantom of Yubel ending because we're under Max C. So we simply just make Phantom of Yubel and pass. Get Max C, but you have a finger. So you can Max C me, but I can't Max C you. Really fair. And this is where going first is probably not winning because of Max C. There you go. Max C throwing the game for a loop. We have Eternal Favorite, which could fuse with either side of the field for the Super Yubel. Nightmare Pain, popping the Spirit of Yubel from the hand, grabbing the Grave Squirmer. Let's speed this up. Spirit of Yubel, trigger, summon a Yubel, Grave Squirmer, pop Yubel, summon a Terra Incarnate from the deck. Link this up into Cross Sheep. Return Yubel and Terra Incarnate for the Phantom of Yubel, trigger Cross Sheep, reborn the Squirmer, making the Yama, search our deck for the Shavara. Squirmer, reborn the Spirit of Yubel to pop the Spirit with Shavara. Setting up the Mature Chronicle, by the way. Pop the Spirit of Yubel to summon the Yubel, link off Yubel and Shavara into the Soul of Rage, trigger to set up the Escape. Mature Chronicle, reborn, regular Yubel. Further link this up into what the hell are you doing? Boral Sword Dragon is here. You could target an attack position monster, change it to defense, we don't care about that. This card can make a second attack during the battle phase this turn if you do that effect, so we do need to have something in attack position to get that double attack. Your opponent cannot activate in response to that. When this declares an attack onto a face-up monster, you can activate the effect, and then this card will gain attack equal to the monster's current attack. So 0 and nothing's an attack. What is this good for? Come forth, Phantom of Yubel. So we have 6,000 damage. Attack, put Phantom into defense. Attack again. Not lethal, so wouldn't an Apollo USA be better? We have Dark Beckoning Beast, which the Phantom of Yubel will be negating. Negate. Now, the Ash Blossom can negate the Spirit of Yubel, activating to summon a Yubel from the deck, which we chose to not do so. Spirit Gates, we're going to chain Escape. Now, this Escape will turn on our Eternal Favorite, which will allow us to fuse with the entire field. One Yubel monster plus any amount of effect monsters on the field. And if we fuse into 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 monsters will deal 2,000 damage through its effect to burn for game. Now, how is it turning it on? Because the Rage will add a monster back to the hand, so we could discard with the Eternal Favorite. So we just need 4 bodies on the field and we win. 4 bodies. Right now there's 3. Yama will make it 4. Soul of Rage is going to add back, so we can have a card to discard with the Eternal Favorite. This is it. Just fuse, and we win. Is there any reason to not just go for it right away? We didn't go for it. We have game. We have game on board. Right now, we have game. Al Mirage could jump off in response to the Fusion Summon. What? Now it's Lil Knight. How are we going to do it? Imperm? Dodge the Imperm? We had it. We now do not have Fuse for game. Damn, I really wanted to see it. Wait, you didn't jump off the fields. Okay, we still have game. Why didn't you jump? Well, I know you want to stay on the field for further linking into a Nightmare Unicorn, sure. Here's the problem with Eternal Favorite being face down. You can't chain Fuse with it face down. You have to flip it up and then on a separate chain, activate to Fuse. You can't do it on the same flip. Can't flip then Fuse. We had nothing to discard. Are we making an access code talker here? Can you please Eternal Favor for game? Please, please, you're gonna make him surrender. What are you doing? Don't make him surrender. Jesus. All right. We had burn damage for game, but we just had to force them to surrender instead. That's okay. Stardust will whip it out next game. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Let's hop on another match. Poplar, search our deck. We do have an Ash. When do we get Ashing? Well, the original Sinful is a good time to whip out that Ash. We are going to... What does this do? Is this dude spamming again? Okay. We're going to Triple Tactics, Talent, return the Dark Beckoning Beast back in the deck. Leaving the D-Lotus, sure. We are going to be triggering the Runick, summon from the hand, pop from the deck, Arvata. Just, you don't even want to see what you could draw into? Nah, just let's go to, well, your connection failed, maybe? Okay, sure, let's hop into game 2. Nightmare Throne. And pretty much every RPG I play, I force myself to play melee. I don't like being a caster, I don't like ranged, I hate it. We're gonna Valor negate the Dark Beckoning Beast, which is a huge fear. Well, what did we accomplish here? What do we do? What do we do? We can't get D-Lotus onto the field now. We can't. Nope, there's no way. So that Valor or Imperm onto the Dark Beckoning, if they don't have one of the 3 Spirit Gates, they're screwed. What we could have done is, what did we do with the Throne? We added the D-Lotus, then we summoned the Dark Beckoning Beast. Yeah, damn. If we were to Phantom of Yubel first to protect the Beckoning Beast, then we wouldn't have access to the D-Lotus, so we just got super screwed. Nuts. Come forth, Phantom of Yubel pass. High risk, high reward, it paid off, and we have the finger for the Phantom of Yubel. Holy moly, did we get clapped. Also impermed, and now we have called by for the Ash. So what we want to do is we want to activate the negated Phantom of Yubel as soon as we can to get it off the field so that we could use our Gamma. Finger the freaking Ash. Ain't no way. Don't give up yet. Your Gamma's live. You just have to get Phantom of Yubel off the field. And this is a bad habit I have also, but I'm learning to be better with it. Stop summoning your Yubels in attack position if you don't have Nightmare Pain. Why is it in attack position? If it gets negated, it's now 0. It's nothing protecting your life. We're gonna discard our Called by the Grave since we don't need that anymore. Poplar is here. We probably should have used the Phantom of Yubel at that moment to just get off the field so we could use the Gamma. Now we lose Gamma. I mean, we would have lost it anyway on in the open field after using Phantom of Yubel. This is a game? Yeah, it's over, it's over. Even if we put Phantom in defense, I mean, there was nothing Timeless could do here, right? We all agree on that. Timeless lost this no matter what. Mary just had the nuts. Yubel, still negated, activated on field. Doolittle is here. Flame Burst, trigger, reborn 2 level 1s. Yes, we did the only reasonable thing that anyone should be doing at this point, which is simply surrendering. Let's get to it, let's do it. A good idea against a deck that's banishing your cards or against a control stun deck, you make a Little Knight, you use Little Knight to banish your own monsters to keep on triggering your Nightmare Throne. So if you could trigger your own Nightmare Throne with your Little Knight every single turn to grab back your banished cards, that is a good play. Damn, Bystials to beat Yubel. This is the way. I mean, we're completely dead. We can't make Phantom of Yubel. The Nightmare Pain is dead. The Escape is dead. The Dark Beckoning is dead. We have nothing. Zero attack in attack position. Absolutely nothing. Lubellian searching for a Jerusalem. We got 5k damage on the field here. Come forth, Bystial Lubellian setting up into the back row. Our Branded Regain. To battle we go. 5,000 damage to the face as we, within the battle, summon a Huggin. Discard to grab a Fountain. This does play around a Veiler. As we further Shokan this up into a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel on summon will banish a card in the field, taking out the set Escape of the Unchained, which would have wanted to take out the Runick Fountain. Banishing cards off the top of the deck. We just lost a D-Lotus. And we now have a Banished Nightmare Pain. Most people only play 2. Now, the Spirit Gates will be able to grab back the Engraved Nightmare Pain back to our hand. But we need a level 10 on the field. All right, we're further Shokaning this up into a Baron de Flor. Baron de Flor will now be popping that Spirit Gate, so it cannot add back the Engraved Nightmare Pain. And let's go. Now, is the Baron de Flor protected from monster effects? Let's read the Chaos Angel. It is. Synchro monsters you control are completely unaffected from monster effects that activate by your opponent. Let's go. We have another Nightmare Throne, but the Baron de Flor will negate. Get that out of here, mates. No search for you. Negate and destroy. It is gone. Scooping it up to Bystial Runick. The double Bystial play. Ain't no way stopping them. Even if they could have summoned the Chaos Summoning Beast, we could have made a Yama to make use of our set Escape of the Unchained. Starting this off with a Nightmare Throne. Popping from the deck our Spirit of Yubel to summon a Yubel. Shavara set up an Escape of Unchained, and just like that, we have a ton of disruption. I think I would have made a 4 material Apollo, but this is still very good. This is a triple negate, 4 monster negate, link off, pop a card, banish with the SP Little Knight, and banish again. 8 disruptions. We're gonna fire off a Freezing Curses onto what? Onto the Soul of Rage. I don't like that at all, because we are not going to use the Soul of Rage except to use Escape on it. Escape's our #1 priority to use before the effect of Soul of Rage, and then it's going to reborn and be activatable. Are we okay? We let it resolve. Is this chain? We're chaining to it? Okay, so the Fountain resolved, and then we activated Droplet, so we could chain another card to summon a Huggin to protect our field spell from being destroyed. Yep. Okay, and it's after the Fountain resolved, so it's going to be drawing up to 3 cards here. Summon the Huggin. Now, Huggin can be negated, right? Phantom of Yubel, Apollo, no, it's a continuous effect. You're not going to be able to negate. Banish, protect, we're good. And the negated Soul of Rage, negated for no reason, right? There wasn't even an opportunity to use the Soul of Rage. This is our natural play. We're going to Yama Reborn it back in the field, and now it's activatable. We're going to chain the Runick Dispelling because you added a card, so we are going to be randomly banishing a card, or I should say discarding a card from the hand. Reborn the Soul of Rage, add back the Spirit of Yubel. Return back, draw 3. We still have our normal summon, and we chose to not do it. Nope. We're screwed. Yes. Banishing a ton of cards off the top of the deck to trigger our Runick Fountain. Return 2, draw 2, into no disruption. Spirit Gates, grab the Dark Beckoning Beast. How many cards do we have banished that are relevant? 2 Spirit of Yubel, 3rd one in our hand. We have 1 Nightmare Pain banished, 1 on the fields. Further Shokaning into a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel on summon, banishing the Runick Fountain off of the field. Now there's no way to protect it, and it's now gone. There was a way if we would have preemptively summoned from our extra deck a card we're not even playing. Moonin. Moonin could protect your field spell from being targeted by a card effect. We had the Anguish to link off with your monster that can't be destroyed by card effects into our Access Code Talker. But boost up, 5,300. We're going to finger your D-Lotus because why not? Let's go. 11,000 damage in the field, taking this into game 3. Where are the Bystials? We need Bystials, right? We won game 1 because of double Bystial. We need a Bystial for game 3, which we could draw into through our Runick Fountain. All right, we going first. We going first. We could set it up. Set it up. Slumber into Huggin being negated by the Gamma mates. Uh-oh. Discard our Bystial. Uh-oh. Gamma, negate, and destroy the Huggin. Nothing to finger there. And now we're left with a Golden Sword Soul with no other real play. That's devastating. Huggin's going to return herself back in the extra deck, not really contributing to anything of relevance here. We have the Bystial Lubellion sent to the grave with no way to summon it. We're setting just a finger, and that's it. Cross out, designate, negate in the max C. Brock has been blown out by the Gamma. And Brock should not have been blown out by a hand trap because we had that call by the grave. We're going to be throning the D-Lotus. Let's speed this up. Additionally, normal summoning. We're going to chain Maxi, chain cross out, chain finger to the D-Lotus, right? Finger that Lotus. Perfect. Very well done. And now we just stopped them from going into their Yubel engine. They still have the Chaos Summoning Beast. They could still set up with Yama and Escape of the Unchained possibly. Let's see how they do it. So let's speed this up. Additionally, normal summon. A lot of people ask the question, I've seen it a lot, why play Chaos Summoning Beast? Well, if you just have a Spirit Gates, you activate Spirit Gates, you add the Dark Beckoning. Dark Beckoning cannot grab another Dark Beckoning. It's to grab another Chaos Summoning Beast so you can normal summon it. You have something to summon to make a Yama with. So we're going to Spirit Gates, discard the Chaos Summoning, Reborn. This is not a Yama. We're making a Little Knight instead. Okay. Banishing from the opponent's graveyard, goodbye to Lubellion. We can't attack directly the turn we activate the Little Knight on summon effect. Off the top of the deck, summoning a Huggin to make a Tri-Edge Master to draw a card. Okay, Little Knight's got Chain Banish. So we didn't want to search for the Runick Fountain because we didn't have another way to trigger the Runick Fountain. I mean, Brock is just in big trouble. I really... Oh, wait. We did not discard a Huggin to search for the fountain. We drew the fountain randomly. Random draw. It worked out, sure. Spirit Gates, grab the Dark Beckoning. If we could return the Chaos Summoning Beast back in the deck through a Phantom of Yubel, we could then search it. Or we could just discard to Reborn a Dark Beckoning or the Chaos Summoning. That's what we're doing. Now, 2 Spirit Gates is 2 Reborns in the grave. We could discard again. Summon for the deck, a Spirit of Yubel, set up from our deck into the back row, our Nightmare Pain. We could reflect that 2100 damage, and we could do it at least twice. So we are going to, with the Nightmare Throne, we're going to have 2 Yubels in the field. And we can get a Phantom of Yubel. So what we could do is we could attack, Squirmer special summon, pop, and then summon another Yubel, attack again. 3 reflections here. But with the Terra Incarnate on the field, what do we summon off the Squirmer popping? We don't have anything to summon from the deck, and the Throne already triggered. Do we have another way to make another Phantom of Yubel? Cross Sheep reborning the D-Lotus. We're going to add back the Spirit Gates in the graveyard back to our hand. Come forth into Yama. We're going to pop the Terra Incarnate. Terra Incarnate. What? You have the ultimate freaking nightmare. Okay, so we had game by simply just doing what I said. Attack. Squirmer can be used in the battle phase. If you control a fiend, activate quick effect anytime you want. Battle phase, pop, and then summon the ultimate nightmare for game. So we did have game there. And we're still gonna have game. We're still gonna be fine. Right? We should have game. Throne setting up the escape. We're gonna special summon, pop. We should do that within the battle phase. Okay, Reborn, further show conning into access code Talker. Just like that, but boost it up. Reborn from the graveyard. You know, we could also do this too. So we have 8,000 damage of just reflecting. Reflect. Isn't Ultimate Nightmare a double reflect? If this battles, inflict damage. So this is 4,200 damage with just the Ultimate Nightmare. Double reflect damage, mate. Ain't no way. Yubel winning with the Gamma. Gamma stopping the Hug-in. That was big. That was big. Begin. Z-Arc. Z-Arc is in the top 16. What the heck? Is this the first Z-Arc top in a Meta Weekly? You're not asking. You're telling me. Okay, you know. You've been paying attention. Damn. Z-Arc is here. It is top tier. And Yami is instant scooping. We out of here. And someone asked the question if I thought that Electromite will finally be unbanned in the TCG with the new Mulch Army coming. If TCG willingly is accepting Mulch Army and does not plan on restricting it, doesn't plan on limiting it, or plan on banning it, I think that Electromite could come back. But my prediction is that the Mulch Army is probably going to get soon limited to 1 and then maybe even banned in the TCG, but not in OCG. I think it's going to replace Maxi in the OCG and then just get hit in the TCG. Hello, Aluber, into the Valor Negate, into the Call by the Grave. Finger that Valor, mate. You're out of here. And let's start cooking under Nibiru. Do we play Nibiru ourselves to negate that Nibiru? Maybe not. We're on summon number 2. Fusion Shokan into Lubellion, into a Mirror Jade, into Lubellion from the grave, into Nibiru. This is it. You can Nibiru before the Lubellion activates, setting up the Branded Lost. Cross out Designate. No cross out Designate. Yami is not playing Nibiru in a 60-card deck. You couldn't fit a single Nibiru in? Damn. All right, tributing up that entire field. The Mirror Jade will be triggering during the end phase, setting up the Quem. Albion also getting the banishment into the back row. Mirror Jade leaving the field through card effect, wiping out the Nibiru that was summoned. Foolish Burial sending the Dark Worm. Dark Worm is now going to be reborning from the graveyard. No, it will not, as we finger it, negating. And it also would have been searching for a ZR card. Is that a big deal? The Supreme King Gate Magician needs a Supreme King Gate on the field to activate its effect. So instead, we're going to set it up as a Pendulum Scale. We have the Wisdom Eye popping itself to set up the Double Iris. We have the King Gate Magician setting up our Supreme King Gate as we then special summon our Supreme Magician onto the field. Quem's going to trigger because a card has left the extra deck to reborn from the grave our Cartesia. Okay, we also have the Branded Banishment to reborn from the grave and then fuse with either side of the field. We have Cartesia fusing with the token to make a Gangrenol. Gangrenol, send from the action deck or deck to the grave. Garura to draw a card into our thrust as we then banishment. Reborn our Mirror Jade for the non-target monster banish play. We're going to be fusing with both sides of the field, fusing the Quem and the opposing player's Iris, making the Quiritis. As we search for a Light Worm, to battle we go, killing our Magician Gate. Okay. Supreme King Light Worm being normal summoned, adding our Gate Magician back to our hand. We have the Gangrenol being triggered because you summon a monster through a monster effect to summon a Quem from the deck. We're going to Mirror Jade, non-target monster banish, banishing you off the field, sending a Rinbrum to reborn the Albash to then fuse with your other monster on the field. Goodbye to your Gate Magician, as we simply make an Albion Sanctifier Dragon. I think we scoop it. We're going to be adding back Cartesia through Cartesia's effect of a fusion monster being in the graveyard. Off the top of the deck, we have fusion duplication, but it does not matter. 10,000 damage on the field. But Pendulum won by going first. And we're going first again for game 3, so that's all we have to do. Start cooking with Pendulum, forcing the opponent to surrender for game 3. Will Pendulum go into the top 8? Let's find out. Dark Worm from the deck to the grave, activate, but we got Maxi to keep you in check. Just like that. The reason why Electromite's banned in the TCG, you may not want to hear this, but it is because there's no Maxi to keep him in check. And this is what we're seeing right here, right now. You can't start cooking with Pendulum under a resolved Maxi. But Charluster's still doing it. What are you doing? What kind of disruptions could you set up minimally under a Max C? How do you keep on special summoning? You have 6 cards in our hand so far. We're going to have a fat, grass-looking green Baguska pass. Makes sense. Yeah, I think all Pendulum decks make Baguska and pass under Max C, pretty much. Look at that hand, get that grass out of here, mate. But now we just saw an evenly match, but evenly match is not going to deal with the Baguska. If you think about it, Baguska is really good against branded. What is an out to Baguska as a branded player? Almost everything's going to get stopped. We don't play link monsters. Everything goes to defense. The the Anaconda actually, couldn't it turn it dark and then fuse with it if we have a super poly? That could be an out. Are we actually playing it though? Evenly match, banishing everything but the Baguska. Fusion deploy, reveal the Gangrenol, summon Cartesia. Cartesia negated, everything negated. YOLO Allure Darkness, and we drew into a dark to banish. Otherwise, we would have discarded the entire hand. We just top decked the Super Polymerization, but can we even fuse a Baguska? How do we fuse with the Baguska? How? We need an Albaz. Well, Baguska could go into attack position, now making a Zeus. Zeusing up the entire field. Huh? No? No Zeus? No Zeus? Wow, we're not playing Zeus. We're making a Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum, search our deck for a double iris, set up our pendulum scales. Let's set it up. Let's get to it. A big super poly is about to happen. If there's two monsters with the same attribute, the super poly is going to be going off. We're going to call to the grave, finger the Engrave Dragon Lightworm, discard from our hand to then super poly, get fusing. Fusing into a Garura. Two light monsters making Garura. If Garura is sent to the graveyard, we will be drawing a card. This is all within main phase 2, by the way. Now, how much can Pendulum cook within main phase 2? Exceed the Pendulum, grab a monster from the extra deck back to our hand, and then we could special summon it as long as it's within our Pendulum scales. Get someone from the grave or hand. Further Shokanning into an access code talker in main phase 2. We're going to start cleaning up this field, it looks like. We have a light and a dark and grave, so pop 2. Popping out both of the back row cards. Goodbye to Brandon Banishment, goodbye to Brandon Red, end the turn, ending on 0 disruption besides the Valor in hand. We can't use the Thrust. We're going to kill our own Garura just to draw a card here. No way, drawing into an Ash. Set. There's no other link monster in the graveyard to banish with the access code talker to wipe out the Ash to attack for game. How do we get a small link into the grave? We just need to get a link on the field even. Just link summon, and then we could banish it from the field to attack for game. This is it. Pendulum, Shokan, the double iris, or a monster from the extra deck, linking off into Electromite. How much do we cook? Do we just banish it right now? No, we're cooking. We're still cooking. We're gonna pop. And the Astrograph, are we fearing a Nibiru? Well, how many summons are we on? We're on 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do a 5th summon instead of banishing to then attack for game. Well, there's no Nibiru anyway, so it works out. Are we going for an Apollo USA, then banish the Electromite from the graveyard? I think that'd be the play, right? Make Apollo, banish, pop, game. That's it. That's it. Goodbye, Electromite, wiping out the Ash Blossom. Open field, 7,700 damage. Pendulum is advancing into the top freaking 8. Yes. Very well done. And that was the top 16. Thank you for watching. We'll be advancing to the top 8, grand finale, top decklist. We're going to start this off with Yubel versus Pendulum. I'll see you there. Let's go.